Hello, I hope all is well. So today I thought we'd take a quick look at recreating a pedal that was released fairly recently, which is the Tallon Alphawolf pedal. Now, this is going to be an approximate recreation given that I don't own the pedal, and I would suggest if you're really interested in getting that sound and, well, the pedal basically, to buy the actual pedal. You'll support a builder in the process and all the work that's gone into that. But this is basically an approximation of what I've sort of put together while listening to the pedal and reading up on it. So the big thing here is that we're setting up one of the foot switches to be like a momentary foot switch. So as long as I hold the switch, it will activate whatever I set to it, and when I let go, it will deactivate. I'll link to another video I did on setting this up, but essentially we're setting a foot switch. So for example, in here, in foot switch edit, or foot controller edit, sorry, we're setting one of the foot switches to be a momentary foot switch for control switch 1 in this case. So in my understanding, you've got the pitch effect, so you've got either an octave up or 2 octaves up. And then there's some other features that we can control much better on the pedal. And this is not approximation. So there's the chaos and the panic knob, which adds further kind of chaos and weird detuning stuff to the actual signal itself. And that's what I've done here by using an LFO. So if you right click on one of these, you can then set an LFO to go between a different range of parameters, and then also set how fast it is. So the lower the attack, the faster it will go between those two values. So obviously this will only be active as long as you're holding down the momentary switch. And so you can set the attack for how quick or how slow you want it to be in going between these two values. Obviously the slower you do between the two, it will take longer to go between the two values, and it might not necessarily go to the high value, if that makes sense. So to remedy this, we can just find the attack value that sort of suits us best and goes maybe between the two values for more craziness. As we can see here, it's going between those two values. Now I'll do a quick example here of just the 1 octave up without this, and then one with. Now hopefully that gives you some idea of the extra madness that we can add to the pitch shifting effect. It won't be as dialed in as the pedal, as I think the pedal is doing some other really cool things as well. But this is where our second block comes in to add more of that kind of noise effect, and that's the ring modulation that we have here. Again, we're using the same concept, so we're only activating the ring modulator when we're pressing down the actual foot switch. So for that, on the ring modulator, I'll set the bypass to be our control switch 1 over here, and then we'll set it to be when the control switch is off, it's bypassed, and then when it's turned on, it will be engaged, and we'll just turn the attack and release to 0. Now one thing here is that the ring modulation is adding that really kind of noisy, chaotic kind of laser effects on top of that pitch, and that's where some of those other controls come in. And this was perhaps the hardest part to actually dial in. So with a 50% mix, it's basically a case of finding certain values that really fit in well with the kind of pitch shift effect itself. And we're using an LFO again on the actual frequency. And here I've dialed the attack a bit higher, but obviously we can crank this down a bit so that it quickly shifts between those two values. And I'll do a quick example here of this effect added to the pitch effect and without. So the ring modulator is really adding that kind of extra noise and laser style effects on there. And I'll link to some other videos I did which really use this for more kind of laser effects, and that I put in my main preset actually. But basically here, if you mess around with the frequency multiplier, you'll get more extremes of that noise per se that's adding onto the pitch. I did experiment putting the ring modulator in front of the pitch, but that really kind of messed around a bit too much and it gave a different kind of tone as well. So the takeaway here is basically a pitch block that you use in a momentary fashion. The chaos and the panic knobs, they're going to be affecting, say, the detune on the actual shift itself. And then on the ring modulator, it will also maybe be affecting, say, the frequency multiplier here, and then the LFO speed on the actual frequency. And I've just got some high cut on both the ring modulator and the pitch itself to make things a bit less grating on the ear. And this can be especially true when you're, say, using a pitch or a +2 octave up in this setup. So obviously I only have one pitch block within the FM3, and the thing here is as I'm controlling the shift up over here, I can only manually set it to either be 1 octave up as it is here or 2 octaves up. I really like the sound of the 1 octave up one, but as an example we'll boost this up to +2 octaves to hear what all this is doing. So this is my clean tone. So for the amp setup, we're using a filter block as a boost. There's some low cut in there. The amp itself, we're using the 100 watt Stealth Red with these settings. The only thing I've changed is using EL34 instead of the stock 6L6s. And for the cab block, we're using two factory ML SoundLab IRs are in there. So the traditional 57 and then the Eurocab 57, as I quite like the sound of two 57 mic cabs, hard pan left and right. And then we're taking off 80 Hertz on the low cut. It's not a harsh slope, and around 10K for the high cut itself. We're using a very, very aggressive sidechain style gate. I'll link again to a video explaining how to put something like this together. And I'm also using a multiband compressor here to sort of, control those sort of lower mid chugs. But to be honest, given how the amp is voiced and how the sound is coming out, it's actually not compressing too much in this instance. But I thought I'd leave it on there as it really helps to clean up very high gain tones, especially on those kind of chugs. So this preset is in my usual downloads, which you can find in the description below. As said, again, if you're really after, the actual pedal itself, I'd suggest to get the pedal as you're supporting a builder as well in the process. But I thought you might find this interesting in looking at how certain pedals or concepts per se are used to get similar tones within your Fractal unit. In any case, thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.